If you want to be more efficient and effective while running your business with more inner peace than working on the core of your issues instead of putting on a band-aid is vital. Welcome to the Business Brain Podcast.
I'm your host, Esty Rapport, and here to help you improve your 28 cognitive functions, the 28 things that make up thinking. In each episode, we'll discuss a real-life challenge, why you might be struggling with it, and give you practical strategies so all areas of your life will improve.
Larry, an IT company owner, was owed a ton of money simply because collecting payments was, quotes, out of his zone of genius. He wanted to work on the computers and didn't have the patience for the details that came with collecting money. Yet he couldn't cover payroll, had a ridiculous amount of unpaid bills, and could easily be out of this mess if he simply was on top of making sure his clients paid in a timely manner. Once we understood what was making him so challenging to collect those payments and solve that root issue, he was able to get over $500,000 in that owed payments in less than a week. Plus, moving forward, collecting payments was no longer an issue. If you're experiencing something similar, I'm here to tell you do not have to struggle forever. In this episode 490 of the Business Brain Podcast, I'm going to share with you the exact steps of what you can do to have your own transformation. But first, which one of your thinking skills is the strongest? Which ones need some help? Find out by taking the Thinking Skill Assessment at lifefocusuniversity.com/CF. While you are doing any task, you, without even realizing it, are using your 28 thinking skills. When the thinking skills you need to use are strong, doing your task happens easily. When the thinking skills you need to use are weak, doing the task becomes a challenge. The struggle that Larry had came from a weak thinking skill of collecting precise data and having a growth mindset. Before I even figured out what the root cause was, I needed Larry to understand that saying I can't do something because it's out of my zone of genius is just an excuse. Sure, we want to spend as much time as we can in our zone of genius, yet there are going to be times when we need to do a task that we don't love to do, especially when it keeps our business afloat. And to be honest, out of your zone of genius is where you have the biggest growth. I can't do something comes from a fixed mindset, which may be hindering you in more ways than you realize. If you struggle with a fixed mindset, then please stop right now and check out episode 479, where we go a lot deeper in this topic. You first need to switch from a fixed to a growth mindset, and then you can do all the other work that we talk about. Once Larry made the switch from a fixed to a growth mindset, we wanted to understand what was making it so difficult for Larry to collect payments. For Larry, collecting payments was all about collecting all the right details. So he was giving clients the right information and making sure he was billing the client correctly. Due to the way his business was set up and the services he provided, there was lots of little details, lots of different ways to be able to do it, and every client had its own story. For you, collecting payments or not doing a task may be because of something else. Ask yourself this question: what part of this task is a challenge? And continue asking that question: what part of that task is a challenge? And what part of that is a challenge? Until you get to the root cause, which is directly related to a thinking skill. If you are struggling with collecting precise details also, here's what we did to help Larry that you can try yourself at home. Number one, being precise, collecting precise data is highly related to motivation. So you wanted to raise the motivation in Larry to want to be precise. It may look like Larry had enough motivation simply with his financial situation, but obviously it wasn't enough. I had Larry do the 7-level deep exercise where you ask why 7 times to get to the deep reason as to why you are doing what you are doing. Okay, so the way you do the 7-level deep exercise is you ask yourself why about the situation, and then whatever your answer is, you just put a why before it and you answer the question again 7 times. Your 7th answer is your deep reason. For Larry, you went something like this: why do you want to collect the money that you're owed? Answer: to be in a good financial position. Okay, that's the answer. Now we're going to do why number 2. Why do you want to be in a good financial situation? Answer: so I can provide for my family and live my dream of traveling the world. Okay, why again? Why do you want to provide for your family and live your dream of traveling the world? You see what you do? Take your answer and you put why before it. Take your answer and you put why before it. The 7th time when you do it, you usually hit something that you haven't thought of before and really gets you deeply motivated. Second thing we did to help Larry with collecting precise data was creating one place to keep all the information, because currently client information was all over the place. He had an in-person meeting with the clients where you write some information down in one place. And then he'd text them and the information would be in the chat. And then he'd call them and have information in a different place. And information was just all over the place. So now when Larry wanted to go and bill that person, he had to go through all these locations, through all his notes, through all his texts to really get the information so that way he could bill them precisely and accurately. What we did is we created one place to put the information. It doesn't make a difference what it is. I don't care if it's something as simple as a Google Doc, but you need one place to put that information. So whenever information comes in, it goes right down to that place. The third thing we did to help Larry improve his precision was really making sure he have all the information, because it's super frustrating when you are trying to collect all the information and you think you have all the precise data, but then in the end you realize you're missing one important piece of information and you have to go all the way back and redo this entire thing again. So before speaking to a client, before getting on a phone call, before answering an email, whatever it is, Larry took the time to get super clear on everything he needed. So this was all the information he already had. He would go through all his notes that he already had and also get super clear on everything he would need to ask the client. So that way he wasn't asking them and all of a sudden remembering he needed one more thing to ask them. He took that few minutes to really prepare so that way when he spoke to the clients, he knew exactly what he needed from the clients. So for example, if let's say he needed bank details from a client, he didn't just say like, write down, oh, I need bank details. He was like, okay, I need the SWIFT number. I need the account number. I need the bank name, all that sort of things. So that way when he's speaking to the clients, he could have it automatically. Now, what was really interesting was without me even telling him, all of a sudden, Larry would find himself making SOPs. Now it's true, every client was different and there were different SOPs for different situations, but things became a lot more streamlined as those SOPs created clarity for himself and really for everyone. And the fourth thing I had Larry do was just improve his being precision in general. And so I had him do some logic puzzles, which require you to be precise. So think of things like Sudoku or crossword puzzles or things like that, where like if you're not precise, the whole thing messes up. You can get some of them for free at crazydad.com. Awesome website. I absolutely love it. So that's crazydad with a K.com. Not doing a task because it's out of your zone of genius is just an excuse. Your challenge this week is every time you find yourself not wanting to do something because it's out of your zone of genius or because it's a challenge for you, go and do it. Train your brain to want to do things that are a challenge. Now, if you want to improve your precision, try one of the 4 things that we spoke about. Number 1, increase your motivation by doing the 7-level deep exercise. Remember, you ask yourself a question, why? Based on your answer, you ask yourself why again. Number 2, keep all your information in one precise place. Number 3, before going into a meeting, make sure you have all the information that you need. And number 4, do logic puzzles that require you to be more precise. Have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Bye for now.
That's all for this episode of the Business Brain Podcast. If you enjoyed it, please share it with 2 of your business friends so they too can gain from it, and you'll be helping us reach our goal of 1 million downloads by the end of 2025. Cheers to peak brain performance.